It was a little over a week on September 2008 when Julia Dixon, a student of University of Akron, was raped. She immediately called the police department and they came and did a rape test on her, which resulted positive. Unfortunately, the offendant only received 3 days in jail, 2 years of probation, and was not even registered as a sex offender. Now, according to a 2000 U.S. Department of Justice study survey, less than 5% of college rape victims reported the rape case to actual law enforcement. So we know there's something wrong on why they're not reporting it to the law enforcement. Suzanne Cassidy, staff writer of Lancaster Online, mentions how a national survey found out that 41% of colleges were not investigated for a rape case. So this means that 41% of the colleges never even reported a rape case, and ever since they were open. Now, I think rape should be handled by the criminal courts instead of this college board judiciary. You know, so we're gonna analyze the problems, the causes, and the solutions to this overlooked problem that we have. Some of you might think that it is very uncommon for rapes to happen here on campuses, on college campuses, but according to Tyler Kingdell, a survey was conducted to see how many victims were victims or possible victims of rape from age 14 to their freshman year in college, and it was an astonishing 37%. So 37% of the people were involved in some kind of rape. So first, the colleges hold disciplinary hearings made up of teachers and students, according to CNN News. So basically what they do is, after a case of rape has been reported, they sit down the rapist and the victim of rape down in a table, and pretty much the defendant has to trial themselves and defend themselves. They have no other lawyers or anything like that. They can't really talk with them. So Christopher Malios, former Philadelphia prosecutor, says it demonstrates a shocking lack of understanding of the impact of sexual trauma on victims. So not only does it hinder their learning abilities, but they are actually traumatized by what happened on the sexual case, which is something colleges don't see. Now second, too much responsibility is put on the college board. CNN reports a victim saying they don't deal with murder or kidnap, so why are they doing it with something just as hard to evaluate? This means that they pretty much asking why are they handling the rape cases if it's on the same level as a kidnap or a murder. It just makes no sense. So the college board, their focus, their main goal is to educate and prepare someone for their career, the people that attend there. So I mean, they're not going to know anything on rape cases. That's not their specialty. That's not what they're trying to do. Now finally, colleges don't have proper punishments for these acts. Allison Corman wrote to the New York Times mentioning how bullying, drinking, and racism fall under misconduct. But as you can tell, all of these bullying, drinking, and racism are way different than a rape case. Bullying and all that, they should be able to handle that. It's not a big case. But when it comes to rape, it's on a big different league. Corman mentions that the University of Virginia expelled 180 students ever since 1998 to the present year for cheating, but they have not expelled anyone for sexual assault or rape, which is, it boggles your mind. Now, there's all of this evidence that proves that colleges are not effective on these rape cases, but in some instances, it might not be their fault, and I'll tell you why. So basically, they're not really trained for these rape cases, like I mentioned before. For example, a math teacher can be in the hearing. They can, judge the trial and everything, but they really don't have any knowledge over the laws. And I mean, honestly, it's not their fault if they weren't trained over it. Now, Lisa White, Director of Counseling and Empowerment Services, says most members of judicial boards, like members of our community, often have misconceptions about sexual assault. So what she's basically trying to say is that they have no knowledge. It's not that they don't try it in this trial, but it's just that they just don't have the knowledge they need in order to have an effective result. Now second, colleges don't know how to handle the cases. U.S. News and World Reports say that colleges were being audited and 44%, there was a 44% increase in the rape reports. So when they were being audited, 44% more of reports were conducted, they were being investigated, and when the auditors left, they were no longer that high. The reported rape cases went down. So, there's something wrong with that. They were obviously being pushed and being watched, so they tried their best to handle these rape cases. Now, this brings me to a story of Anna, who was raped, and there was proof of sperm on her that she was raped by many others, not only one person. Students of the same college she attended. They were all football players. However, nothing was done. The case was dismissed, and the football players were told to go home. And part of the reason I think this happened was because they were football players, and that year they were very good. They went undefeated in their conference, and I think they did not want to affect the team's ability to play without their star players. So I think that's one of the reasons. So this issue is something we cannot overlook. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand asked, how many surveys will it take before we act to this urgency of the crimes? So, we have to act now. It's not a matter of waiting, we have to act now. But luckily, there's solutions to this problem. We can see that these colleges can't handle these rape cases on their own. And rape is a major crime. It's not, like I said, bullying, it's not drinking, those are minor, but rape is something major that has to be addressed, not only by the college board. So I think that the criminal court should handle this crime of rape, because, rape is considered a crime. So, I don't know why the college board handles the crime and not any other crime such as murder or kidnap. Now, rape doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it happens. If it happens in at the drugstore, if it happens in a college campus, it's still rape. It's still a crime. It doesn't matter. The punishment should be the same. So the criminal courts has trained individuals. They study all their life for this. It's not like they have a math teacher in the hearing or anything like that. So I think that the criminal courts would be better off handling these situations, and it would relieve stress off of the colleges. It would bring peace to the campus, and it would bring peace to the students and the victims that were being accused or actually that were being raped, because it now brings peace into their mind knowing that something can be done about it. Now, what can we do? I have this petition that I want all of you guys to sign before you guys leave. It's pretty much saying that you support, that the criminal courts should take over instead of the college boards handling the rape cases. And let's see, all of these silent cries, I feel like they're silent cries, people who get raped and there's nothing being done about it. They feel like, they're crying in silence. They have no one to talk to, nobody listens to them, and I think this is unfair. So I challenge all of you to inform others about this case, which is, it's not a good case to have, with the colleges handling these situations. So I want all of you to inform your peers and tell everybody, that to support this cause as well. And nobody really wants to be a victim of rape, especially not if you're raped and nothing is being done about it, That's even worse, because you feel worthless, you feel like nobody cares. Now that we looked into the problems, causes, and solutions, basically the criminal courts should take over. You can all agree with me, that the criminals should be penalized for their actions. I think that these rapists need a heavier punishment than what they receive with the college board. That's why I said the criminal court should take over. Now, most of us complain that life isn't fair, and I can agree with you guys. Life isn't fair, but together, if us doing this petition right now, we can come together and make a difference. We can overcome another cruel issue that vandalizes our society, which is this overlooked problem of rape cases and the college boards handling them. So I believe that the criminal courts should handle these rape cases instead of the college boards.